Hey guys, so my name's Natalie, and I usually don't make videos like this, about things like this, like ever. Something this time just really bothered me. I felt the need to voice my opinion, I guess, or at least voice some fairness into the fandom and some clear-mindedness, because I feel like whenever things come upon us like this, we just go crazy and no one thinks it through, and then it's not until hours later where people calm down and then think it through. I do want to point out that I know as much as you guys know. I don't know about the lives of One Direction. I just observe what I observe, and I obtain the information I can, and I analyze it myself, and this is the conclusion that I've come to. Like I said, I do want to be fair, so keep that in mind. I do ship Larry to an extent. I'll get to that later in the video. And I have some points written down on my computer, so if I look down or read, that's why. Well, the first thing I want to touch on is that we have no idea if Larry is real or not. And what I mean by this is we have evidence, right, that Larry could be real. We'll never really truly know. In a sense, there's never been a confirmation. Nor a denial. I'll get to that later. So I always keep that in the back of my mind when believing in their relationship, that obviously it might not be real. Totally okay, right? In shipping Larry, right, I'm not one to at the boys on Twitter and be like, Larry's real, or anything like that. Personally, I keep my shipping within my fandom, like the friends I have in the fandom, and we talk about it, and it's just the way I handle the way I ship, you know, with my fellow shippers, I guess. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is people who bring things to concerts that are related to Larry, or make Louis and Harry do things in meetups. So first thing I want to say is, I know I might get a lot of hate for a lot of things I'm going to say in this video, but I'm trying to be fair. Please remember that. Louis nor Harry have ever spoke up about Larry for real or solidly, okay? And by what I mean by that, but Liam said that he, and I assume all the other boys, see everything we post on Twitter, or most of it for the most part. He said that, I think, in the Alan Carr interview like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It's been a while. But the only reason I could see for them not wanting to talk about Larry is that maybe they're afraid of a follow-up question concerning their sexuality. That could be a motivation for them not wanting to answer anything about it. As for the meetups, for example, the Make-A-Wish girl who had them all hold hands, right? And Louis and Harry were obviously next to each other. To me, they didn't seem bothered. Maybe you thought they were. Maybe they were just trying to be polite by not being bothered. But either way, this could have been handled a long time ago, the whole Larry situation. It's happened with other men in, you know, who are celebrities or who are famous, and they've handled them in a joking manner or seriously or however, right? It's been seen. But then again, like I said, maybe they're afraid of a follow-up sexuality question. But what I do know is that their team purposely can go in and tell them, don't ask these questions, don't ask these questions. So that's left out in the open. The next thing that I want to talk about is that I've personally always believed that there's a difference between Liam, the human that stands in front of us, at Real Liam Payne on Twitter, and like magazine article Liam. I believe things can be added and edited into a written interview or on Twitter, but in person, something that's said is kind of hard to edit. You see what I'm saying? It's vocal and it's justifiable proof. Don't quote me on this, like, I don't know how good my information is. I'm kind of just going off memory. Everything that's been denied concerning Larry has mostly been through Liam or another boy, which was written most of the time, and then Louis vocally with the people genuinely believe phrase, which is not a denial, and I will tell you why I believe that. Personally, if it was me, I would try to elaborate trying to deny a rumor, but that's just me. I feel like a phrase like that leaves too many things out in the open, and if I was trying to deny it right then and there, I would have elaborated a little bit. The next thing I want to talk about is Modest management, obviously. So once Liam even said, Modest has access to their Twitters, their PR team, whatever you want to call them. He said for promotional tweets, but either way, they still have access. I'm just putting that out there. I think it's definitely hard to know what's real because the media can be biased, it can be real, it can be fake, it can be so many things. The thing that's proven about Modest is that they've had clients that hate or highly dislike the company. An example would be Rebecca Ferguson, who won the X Factor and signed with Modest. I think the year One Direction lost in 3rd place. You can look it up if you want, there's articles on it. Just to do a quick synopsis, basically she was overworked, she couldn't see her kids, they forced her to do interviews, stuff along those lines, and so she got out of her contract, but she had to pay a lot, and yeah, it was just a big deal, so look that up. I want to talk about a PR team or a public relations team. Basically, they hold responsibility of handling the boys' image, from what I have read or looked up. Another thing is astroturfing. So I'm going to link a video below, a TED Talk that is great and describes astroturfing perfectly. To quickly describe like what it is, people are hired to go online and they're told to promote a Twitter trend or headline or etc. This is something a PR team will handle if they find it necessary. The next thing I'm going to say is all conspiracy. Keep that in mind. It's a conspiracy, assumption, whatever you want to call it. It's that the boys' contract is set to end very soon. Their team, or whoever has been controlling them, their image, etc., has always had a trend of targeting Larry shippers. I agree there are the bad side of Larry shippers and the good side of Larry shippers. I think that the bad ones are publicized more, simply because a bad part of a group is always publicized more. That's just the way it is. So whether you ship Larry or not, I think everyone knows that Larry shippers are a core part of the 1D fanbase. Lots of those people are also LGBTQ supporters. I just can't fathom why would they bring down that core base through this attitude article, because I feel like it was just kind of demeaning towards the whole Rainbow Direction project. Whether it was meant to or not, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it harms 1D's career. You look at the bigger picture. Since the fan base itself, they greatly support this community. I definitely do think that their team has the power to revise interviews or add in things or collaborate with whoever's doing the interview, you know, like if they're collaborating with Liam, saying, you know, talk about this, talk about that. I could be totally wrong. I accept that, but don't think it can't happen either. That's all I'm saying. Next, I want to touch on Rainbow Direction. We know what the premise of this group and this project is, and at the end of the day, we know what it promotes, okay? So don't let anyone discourage you from wanting to promote something. Also, in case you didn't know, Attitude actually wrote an article on Rainbow Direction, so I'll link that below too. Next, I want to talk about how the boys are human and it is important to be respectful. Whether what we've been told about them or been presented with on Twitter, whether you believe it's really Liam in the interview or not, these guys are real human. They have feelings, and I just feel like being disrespectful gets you nowhere. If you feel the need to speak up on this issue, try to be polite, try to be fair, try not to use too much emotion. Because if you just state what you think, that's all you've got to do, and leave it at that. The last thing that I really want to touch on in terms of a topic is just Larry shippers in general. Ever since, you know, Larry has grown into a much more realistic thing than just shipping two band members for fun, Larry shippers are portrayed as a cult and as crazy, and I just know that Larry shippers are a core of 1D's fan base, and so we buy their music, and I think it causes people to feel a little threatened. In my opinion, I just don't think that's a really good way to handle shippers. We're what's keeping them successful in the first place. So, to conclude, I want to tell you that you are allowed to make your own decisions and opinions, because at the end of the day, nothing is clear, cut, or dry in this fandom, as I think most people know. So you're gonna have to decide what you want to believe or what you do not want to believe until things are completely out in the open one day. I don't think you should argue over it. The reason I think that is that neither side in this situation knows the whole truth, so it's kind of a lose-lose thing. We're gonna get the truth one day, I hope, because to be honest with you, so many things in the One Direction fandom are sketchy, and I think that's something everyone can agree on, whether it's certain things the boys do, etc., etc. Try not to lose sleep over this. You have to get off Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram. Your psyche and your feelings are much more important. If I left things out, or if I said things that were wrong, or I just completely offended you, I really apologize. I tried my best to stay fair and tried to see both sides of the situation, because I always try to be that way when it comes to things like this. I said I don't usually make videos on topics, but I felt the need to. You know, I love One Direction. I love the fandom. I met my best friend through this fandom. I have so many amazing internet friends through this fandom. I just feel like there's so much unneeded drama, and it needs to go away. To be honest with you. If you have anything to say, you can comment below. Try not to be mean if I said something that you completely disagree with, because I don't want to be mean to you either. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!